Everybody, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, How BPO on Brand24 Grew Business Through Transparency. My name is David Goodstein, and I'm a webinar coordinator for the Outsourcing Institute. It is our pleasure to be the co-host of today's event with Five9. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly tell you about the Outsourcing Institute for those of you who aren't familiar with us. The Outsourcing Institute is a professional association dedicated to providing independent best practices, tools, roadshow events, and networking opportunities for all forms of outsourcing. Located at Outsourcing.com, we have 70,000 members globally. OI specializes in providing low-cost and no-cost alternatives for outsourcing buyers in need of RFP tools, vendor selection assistance, training, as well as general support and coaching. For those of you in this market, we offer an array of very targeted sponsorship and promotional opportunities. Our sister company, CMS, provides recruiting services for those seeking to hire outsourced professionals experienced at buying, selling, managing, or consulting in this arena. Our contact information is at the bottom of the screen for those who have any questions. So I'd like to tell you about today's speakers. We have Mark Fichera here. He's the CEO of OnBrand24. And we also have Richard Dumas. He's the Director of Product and Solution Marketing for Five9. So at this time, I will now turn it over to Mark to begin the presentation here.
Thank you, David. Again, my name is Mark Fichera. I'm CEO and owner of a BPO, or a call center outsourcer, called OnBrand24. I'll just give you kind of a little bit of a thumbnail sketch of OnBrand24. We're located, we have 3 locations. Our main location and corporate headquarters are in Beverly, Massachusetts, just 30 minutes north of Boston. We have another location in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and then a third location in Savannah, Georgia. We're a 100% domestic provider. We have all of our agents are premise-based. We don't have, as of yet, any home agent model. Basically, our business makeup is about 75% of our business, 75 to 80% of our business is inbound customer service for e-commerce companies and healthcare companies, and about the remaining 25% is outbound, and it's primarily business-to-business with very little business-to-consumer calling, and that's about 25% of our business. We have about 300 agents currently, and before we actually went to Five9, it's like 2.5 years ago, we probably had 50 to 75 agents. So we've experienced a tremendous amount of growth in the last 2 to 3 years. You can go to the next slide, David. Before we went to Five9, we were running a premise-based system called, it was called the NEC Aspire system. And it was, we had it for, probably 5 to 7 years. And it was a typical premise-based system that we had an IT staff supporting it. It was basically an ACD system that allowed us just to route the calls. We had a bolt-on recording system, a third-party recording system. And we also, which was very clunky, like most bolt-on systems are. And then we also had we used a third-party scripting system because the NEC system really had no basically intuitive scripting system. So we had a system, an older system called Telescript that allowed us to do some, just customized scripting, and it was external to the system, so it was always very awkward trying to combine the two and having two systems running for our agents. And the reporting was often difficult as well with the older system. So really, what we did, you can go to the next screen, David. So we were, it was always tough to buy a new phone system. You kind of go along, and because especially we had, from a business standpoint, we had owned it, so any cost that we were going to incur was going to be incremental costs, whether we went to a new premise-based system or a cloud-based system. And the primary driving force was through our customers. They were demanding more and more sophisticated, integrated IVR capabilities. They wanted some priority queuing. One of our clients, they had multiple toll-free numbers. And one of the issues was priority queuing, kind of a platinum, gold, silver, bronze environment where we wanted to be able to differentiate or skip customers so they could skip the queue. So features like that we just couldn't basically address with our clients. So we really started to go out and look at new phone systems. with a completely fresh slate. And it didn't matter whether it was going to be premise-based or cloud-based. We really took a look at all the major providers. You can go to the next slide, David. So what we did was we looked at all alternatives out there, all the big vendors, InContact, Interactive Intelligence, LiveOps, Noble Systems, and quite frankly, I was just I was thinking, because we had our old premise-based system that we really knew how to kind of maneuver and do what we wanted to do, and then we had this older Telescript system, which was a scripting-based tool, and I was kind of underwhelmed by what I saw out there. I didn't see an integrated. I was thinking that we could get rid of both systems and we could have a real integrated approach, and I was just kind of a little bit dismayed as far as just the basic quality of the software. I thought there'd be some real nice integrated. This was 2 years ago, and some of the companies we looked at had to use a third party for scripting, and their scripting was archaic, and they didn't have priority queuing and things like that. So we really, was a little bit disappointed, and then we ended up, quite frankly, just stumbling onto 5.9 through an SEO search that we did, and we would just received a demonstration, and we're quite pleased with what we saw. And basically, this really took a hard look, because 5.9 didn't have a premise-based system, so that's kind of forced us into looking really at a cloud-based solution. And one of the things, looking at the cloud-based solution, which was very attractive to me, was the fact that there wasn't any hefty upfront investment. That it was basically, I think 5.9's implementation costs were fractions of what the other large vendors were, and I was saying to myself and our staff, I said, is this too good to be true? I mean, is it why is 5.9 seems so more simpler of a solution, and they're implementing and they're talking within a couple weeks, versus all the other vendors are talking about months. And I said, what are we missing here? They basically stood by what they said, and we were up and running probably within 30 days of us signing contracts. So it was a very smooth transition. We can go to the next slide. So it was very easy to implement the 5.9 system. In fact, shockingly easy. It was very easy for our employees to get on, especially our IT department. We were able to create campaigns, and we have about 125 clients, and we were able to create the campaigns within a week or two, and get it all up and running. And it was a very quick and easy installation process with 5.9, and we became to see immediate results. You can go to the next slide, David. So again, we brought our first customer on within a week, and we had a few problems in regards to making sure, because we were going from our premise-based system to our voice over IP, and we were trying to a little problem with the sound quality. But once we settled on the headsets, and we did some troubleshooting on the USB ports and things like that, quickly we got any sound quality behind us, and just everything went very smooth, and our agents are now able to, do everything from one screen, all the scripting, and 5.9 has a product they call Workbook, which allows you to create scripts and also go to external systems, which is a huge advantage to us. And so it's been a very smooth transition. We've been running 5.9 now for just over 2 years. The main thing it's done for us, and I guess this is the purpose of this seminar, is to create a transparency with our clients. As everybody I think is on the phone is an outsourcer. When you're in a sales environment, one of the big things of a buying criteria is many people are doing customer service in-house are very concerned about giving it over to an outsourcer. They won't be able to see their calls. They won't be able to listen to recordings. They won't be able to really get inside, and it's really a control thing. So what 5.9's really been allowed us to do is create that transparency, as if our clients are right here in our facilities. So what we do is we give them a live portal that allows them to see all of the the traditional reporting, such as pickup time, abandonment time, all that, and they actually have a supervisor screen that we give a lot of our clients to that they can see real time as far as that data is concerned. They can also see live recordings as well, so they just as an agent hangs up the phone, the recording becomes available to them, and all of our clients can click on any recording. They can sort it by a disposition code or by date or by operator or agent. So they really feel like they're part of our organization, and they're really not outsourcing. Obviously that they are. So the 5.9, probably the single best feature of that is us being able to do that. We could have never have done that with a premise-based system to allow total transparency into our organization. Now, obviously, there's to any BPO or any outsourcer, that's always a tough thing to do, is really to provide this transparency to your clients, because they're seeing all the calls, and we all do know that all of our agents don't do 100% perfect every day, but it's really proven to be quite a thing for us, and it always keeps us on our toes. And our agents know that our clients are listening to every phone call, and they know that, and they're always up to speed. You can go to the next slide, David. One of the other nice features of 5.9 is its integration capabilities. We very rarely have to say no to a client when they ask about an integration, whether it's Salesforce or their own CRM or their own e-commerce system. 5.9 has all these APIs, and it's just very, very easy to deal with as far as integration of third-party applications. So that's always been a nice thing for us with 5.9. We can go to the next slide. Another feature that's really helped us with a cloud-based system, and I guess you get this with a premise-based system, I'm not sure, but is really the scalability from the standpoint of like any BPO. We often scale. During the holidays, we'll go from 250 agents to 325 or 350 agents, or if it's a particular project that we have to scale up for. And what's really nice about 5.9 is you just basically call them up and say, we're going to need 30 more licenses, and they don't need 30 days notice or whatever. It's basically within 5 minutes you get the extra licenses. The nicer thing too, and I remember asking some of the other cloud-based vendors as far as decreasing the agents, because when in January when the holiday season's over, or if your project comes to an end, you still don't want to be paying for any licenses. And some of them gave me, oh well, it's going to take 60 days to do that. You got to put in a work order and things like that. And 5.9 is really nice to work with, where they just basically prorate the month, and the number is decreased within a week or two. So it's the scalability is nice. So as long as you have your PCs in place, you can scale within minutes, and it's just a great feature to have, and our clients have reaped the benefits of that as well. We can go on to the next slide, David. So certainly our IT costs have been reduced. Again, it was hard to really show a reduction from the standpoint of the cost, because we owned our premise-based system, and as a business owner, as you guys all know, when you own something, it's basically free, so you're looking at an incremental cost. But our IT department is so much more efficient with not much overhead, and there's no internal R&D. And one of the nice features of a cloud-based system is it's never really going to be obsolete. 5.9 consistently updates the software. They've just come up with their new multi-channel interface, so you can take chat and email and social media monitoring all into one interface. So to me, this is the last system we'll ever have to purchase. As long as 5.9 keeps doing their job, and we'll never have to worry about having an obsolete system again. Go to the next slide, David. So over the last 2 years, we've OnBrand24 has really grown from about 20 to 30% each year. Was it because of 5.9? I don't know, but I do know that we couldn't have done it without them. So we've doubled our customer base. We have about 125 clients now, and we've been named to the Inc. 5000. I think we're like 1,200 on the Inc. 5000, the fastest growing private companies. So it's been truly a great partnership with Five9, and it's just, again, the number one feature is this transparency that really helps in our sales process when we're trying to persuade clients to outsource their customer service to us. I believe that's, I think we're going to have some questions at the end, but that's really, the end of my presentation.
Okay, thanks, Mark. I'll take it from here. This is Richard Dumas from Five9. And again, if you do have any questions for either of us, there's a little window, I think, on the GoToWebinar interface that you can type them in, and we'll take them either whenever you submit them or at the end of the presentation. So you can go ahead and move to the next slide for me. And the next slide. There we go. Okay, just for those of you who are not familiar with Five9, I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of our solution and some of the products that we offer. So Five9 is a leading provider of cloud contact center software, and we help organizations like OnBrand24 deploy secure, scalable, and reliable contact centers in the cloud. And as Mark was describing, that's all without having to install any of the traditional hardware, software, or equipment that, as you probably know, can be very complicated and costly and inflexible. So if you look at the slide that I have on the screen, what this depicts is on the left-hand side, various kinds of customer channels. These are the ways that that your customers contact them, either over the phone, and now you'll see the boxes that are circled are new features, new applications that we delivered in our last release. So we handle phone calls. You can have chat interactions coming from a web or mobile website, emails. We do full social media listening and interactions. So on Twitter or on Facebook or any of the different social channels, if someone's talking about your brand or trying to interact with you, agents can have those interactions routed to them as well. And we also have a mobile solution, a mobile self-service solution that'll plug in either to your website or mobile applications. It's called Visual IVR, so that customers can get simple answers kind of based on your traditional IVR application over that application, or request a call back or an interaction from a live agent. So then in the center, the circle there is the virtual contact center that lives in the cloud. Five9, we handle both inbound and outbound calling. So as Mark described, I think he said 75% or so of his business is inbound, 25 outbound. We have a variety of different outsourcers that use our solution, many of them for more outbound telemarketing. And we also have something called active blending, which allows agents to take inbound calls and then be automatically switched to placing outbound calls when they're not busy. And that makes them even more efficient. So in the cloud, we have that ability to handle all of those interactions, as well as all of the tools to monitor and report and supervise agents that are engaged with customers. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see those interactions are being connected with either in-house agents. I think Mark said most of his are in-sourced. But we have a lot of customers who are taking advantage of using work-at-home agents now as well. And by virtue of the fact that all of this is in the cloud and that all they need is an internet connection and a phone and a headset, it makes it much easier to source and locate agents at home, which is a great benefit because that cuts the kind of 20-mile restriction for locating and hiring a workforce. They can actually be anywhere in the U.S. or anywhere in the world. So on the right-hand side, those are kind of all of the different ways of connecting with either live agents or self-service support. Now, it looks like I had a question here. The problem is, let's see if I can read it all. The question that came in said, does I think he's asking for Visual IVR allow for data links to accommodate self-help? Yes. So within that Visual IVR application, it's actually based on the standard IVR scripts that you use when interacting with someone over the phone. And so those can do queries to be able to provide support and answers to the caller or the person that's interacting over the web application. And at that point, they can then also ask for a callback, or they can ask for a chat or an email interaction from a live agent. So I hope that answered that question. Okay, thanks. Okay, next slide. Let's move along. So I'm just going to drill into some of the needs, and I think Mark addressed many of these in his presentation. And then I'll talk a little about the specific features that we offer for each of these. So that when we work with our outsourcer partners, I think one of the major things that they've been looking for, coming to us for, is this idea of greater flexibility. The idea that your business is based on first establishing agreements with your clients, and then basically being able to scale up or scale down to meet that demand in a very flexible manner. Whereas with traditional on-premise systems, there's this need to take all of the upfront risk and investment and buy all of the equipment and hardware and everything that you might need to sort of meet your maximum capacity. And the idea that you no longer have to worry about that is really just a terrific benefit for outsourcers. And then along with that, all the idea of the operational control. So again, that upfront cost was not only sort of buying all the equipment, but it's essentially running your own data center and having a huge IT staff that's there to manage all of those applications. So you no longer have to do that, and then with the operational control, we make it much easier for contact center managers or the business managers to be able to set up campaigns, upload lists, manage all of the different campaigns on behalf of multiple customers, while providing the transparency that Mark talked about, so they can actually see what you're doing. In addition, improved performance, this idea that we have an all-in-one solution, and it has some very powerful capabilities, particularly for things like outbound dialing, that have enabled customers to triple their performance by being intelligent about how many calls are placed based on the agent availability, so that we reduce call abandonment and we maximize the number of contacts per hour that these agents are making with customers. So monitoring and reporting, again, that transparency is extremely important. Easy integrations, and I'll talk a little bit about that before. I mean, as Mark described, being able to integrate with your customers' existing legacy on-premise systems. We have multiple ways to do that for custom integrations, and multiple ways for your agents even to work within a Salesforce or other CRM interface. And then workforce and quality management solutions for that as well, so the ability to do staffing and to monitor and record and trace the quality of all the calls, and then all that based on security and reliability. So let me drill down on some of these in a little bit more detail. If you can just move to the next slide, please. So with flexibility, as we mentioned before, there's really minimal upfront investment. What you're doing is you're paying a relatively reasonable implementation fee in the beginning, but we typically get folks up and running in a matter of weeks. I think, as Mark just described, they were fully functional within 30 days, and outsourcers are just, or all customers are really just astounded by how quickly they can get up and running and begin taking phone calls. Again, this idea that you can sign contracts first and add agent seats as needed to meet that demand, whether that's based on how many customers you have, signing a new customer, whether it's based on seasonality effects, you get busy around the holidays and you need to add 100 new agents. You can do that at any time by just placing a phone call to us, and we'll add the additional capacity for you. And you're also paying for those seats, on a reasonable basis, on a monthly basis as you use them. You have the flexibility again to hire and base these agents anywhere in the world while having the same visibility as if they were working in your brick and mortar contact center. As Mark just mentioned in our last release, and as you saw in the first slide, we've just released all of our new multi-channel applications so that you can provide additional services to your customers, not just handle phone calls for them, but you can have agents manning social media response or engaging in live chat or email engagements as well. And then this idea of active blending, which makes your agents much more efficient. Many of our customers use it, for instance, for follow-up calls. So they may be taking incoming calls and answering questions, providing service, and then when they're not busy with those inbound calls, they can place follow-up calls to see how a customer is doing in their first week of using a product, for instance. And then for operational control, through a very easy-to-use web-based administrative interface, your administrators can establish client campaigns, they can set routing strategies, build skill groups for agents and assign agents to them, and all that is done, they can do all that themselves without having to constantly rely on the IT department to make all those changes, or rely on us or an outside vendor to come in and do that as well. So, you know, they're able to be much more self-sufficient and much less dependent on others to be able to get things done. You're always running the latest version of the software. Again, so that tends to be a big headache for folks that have big IT staffs where, as Mark described, many even have many different solutions that have been integrated with things bolted onto their core product. And as you know, once you get everything running, your IT staff may be very reluctant to even upgrade one of the components because they're afraid that it's going to break everything else that's attached to it. Well, we provide an all-in-one solution, and we take care of all those headaches for you. That's our business, to make sure the software is running, to make sure that it's always running the latest release, and you have access to all the latest features. I think, Mark, can you go on mute there? We're getting a little feedback. Okay, so fantastic. And then we also offer additional solutions to help with things like do not call lists and their new TCPA regulations, which offer some restrictions to placing outbound calls to customers on mobile phones. And if you're interested in that, we can provide you more information on that solution. So let's move to the next slide, please. So in terms of the improved performance, I already hit on this idea that you're able to make more contacts per hour on outbound calls, and that's because we have a suite of different automated dialing options that go all the way from, if you're doing B2B calls, you can do a preview dialing where the agent is able to see who they're calling and decide whether or not that call's made before it goes out, all the way to predictive dialing solutions, which essentially attempt to over-dial the number of numbers, and they can detect answering machines and busy signals and optimize the number of calls that are connected to the operator. We also have a feature there that's called automatic voicemail laydown that can actually leave messages on someone's answering machine while the agent is moving on to the next call. And then the solution itself, the unified agent interface, really helps to improve that agent productivity and performance. Again, it's a web-based UI. It's easy to use and learn. It's the same UI that allows them to switch between interactions for phone, for chat, for email, for social media. You can route the calls to the right agent. We have embedded IVR ACD functionality in that. So you can assign agents to multiple skill groups, maybe different groups for different customers, for instance, as well, and route the appropriate calls to the appropriate agent. There's integrated CTI screen props and scripting, as Mark was talking about before. It's not a separate bolt-on solution. All that agent scripting is provided to them within the interface. We have powerful both online and mobile supervisor applications, so you can monitor, you can listen into agent calls, you can chat with them, you can barge in to the call if necessary. So all of that ability to oversee, to coach, and to monitor agents is available. Already talked about the active blending functionality. We also have a way to deliver leads that come into a website. So if you're doing sales follow-up for a customer, for instance, someone can fill out a form on the customer's website, and that lead can get immediately routed into one of your outbound call lists so that someone is following up with them quickly before the lead will get cold. Sorry. And then I also talked a little bit about the CRM integration. There are also a number of different options for cost reduction. In addition to the cost reduction that you get by reducing your IT staff and making them more efficient, enabling them to focus on not on so much day-to-day maintenance and hand-holding, but on more strategic issues. We also have options for bundling into the solution toll-free numbers, local numbers, et cetera, which can significantly reduce the overall cost. And a soft phone is included with every license. So can we move to the next slide, please? And in terms of the monitoring and reporting, I mean, this is one of the things I think that Mark hit on in his presentation, this idea of transparency. So for the monitoring and reporting, you are able to easily track the performance of each of your clients' campaigns, either through real-time dashboards or customizable historical reports. One of the things that a number of outsourcers have told us, the reason that they've gone with us is because we are able to provide them with real access to that data. We know that you have reporting deadlines with your customers, and many times that's part of your SLA, being able to report to them by noon the next day, for instance, so that you can get paid. And we do a fantastic job of doing that. And then, providing the clients greater visibility and more transparency into the performance of the agents that are working on their behalf. And a number of our customers are actually giving direct access to a supervisor application, so you can monitor and watch agents that are working on your behalf dynamically. And then in terms of billing and capturing all the costs, we don't do actually client billing, but we do enable you to easily capture all of the information you need in order to easily produce invoices for your end customers. And let's pop to the next slide. And so again, in terms of CRM integrations, or not just CRM integrations, but any type of integration you want to make, we have out-of-the-box integrations to some of the most popular CRM systems, Salesforce, Oracle right now, NetSuite, Velocify, Zendesk. And these integrations, your agents now have the option of working within the standard 5.9 interface or working and taking calls from within the CRM interface with the soft phone embedded in that interface. So they can get integrated screen pops, they can click to call directly from those Salesforce records, and still access all of the telephony functions that would typically be available in the 5.9 system. We also have a suite of cloud APIs. These are our different API interfaces that enable you to gain direct access to each of the key areas of functionality within the system, whether that's the reporting, the admin interface, the agent interface. All of that's available to you for custom integrations. And then we also have a very lightweight connector, a web connector, so that within the agent interface, let's say you wanted to pop up a Google map or something to allow the agent to give directions to a location, that enables you to connect to other web-based interfaces and basically be able to display that within the agent desktop. So those are a number of different areas where you can easily either take advantage of existing integrations we've done or extend to legacy systems yourself. Let's move to the next slide. And again, so we partner with NICE systems. We actually host a cloud-based version of the NICE offering for both workforce management and quality management. So you can use their solution for forecasting staffing requirements and building your staffing models, and also provide an agent interface where they can do things like request vacation times and collaborate on scheduling. And then with quality management, you can use either 5.9, we will record calls for you, or you can do that within the NICE system as well. So they have a very nice suite of solutions around quality management for capturing screen recordings, for end-to-end quality management, using speech analysis to try to do root cause analysis for calls and get customer sentiment and feedback. So you have access to that as well directly within 5.9. Let's pop to the next slide. And then, another great aspect of working with 5.9 is that, again, you're not responsible for running your own data center or centers. These are all things that you'd have to do on your own if we weren't doing them for you. So we're running multiple data centers. We have one in Santa Clara, another one in Atlanta. They're operated 24/7. You have the option for geographic failover. If something happens in one location, it can be moved. All your calls and interactions can be moved through another data center. We have 24/7 monitoring and surveillance and monitoring teams that are proactively looking for any issues and attempting to resolve those. We also have connectivity through Tier 1 carriers, including Verizon and AT&T, with carrier failover options. So if one of those carriers fails, we can switch to another one. And we also have multiple connectivity options. And you can connect to Five9 over the public internet through VPN or through MPLS solutions. And we have a turnkey solution called Five9 MPLS Agent Connect that actually allows us to offer you a really reliable, secure connection. You can improve performance, you can improve call quality, and that's essentially a complete end-to-end solution, including a managed router that we give you in order to prioritize all the traffic that's going between your facility and ours. Let's pop to the next slide. So this is just to wrap up. You can see working with outsourcers, partnering with outsourcers like OnBrand24 is a major part of our business. Probably our largest market segment is with outsourcers. This is just a brief snapshot of some of the customers, some of the partners that we have today. And that's pretty much what I had to do, had to present to you today. If there are any other questions, well, why don't you just go ahead and type them in the interface, either for Mark or myself. Let's see if I have one here, if I can scroll to read it. Let's see. Okay, this looks like this is a question for you, Mark. It says, we are currently in the midst of replacing our end-of-life outbound and inbound solution. We know that a cloud-based solution is the way to fill our needs. Did you source out any other cloud-based vendor? If so, why did you go with Five9?
Okay. The main reason was we went with Five9 was the ease of use and the simplicity. You know, I guess the saying, "There's beauty in simplicity," was just be able to manage it, and the feature-rich reporting function of it was probably the main reason why we went with Five9. You know, another reason was the ease to do business with Five9. They were very cooperative. It was very simple. The contract was 2 or 3 pages. They had a 30-day contract where you could they would have to prove themselves every 30 days. Other companies wanted to get into a 6-month or a year or 3-year contract, and Five9 was just very cooperative throughout the whole process. So, and we haven't outsourced. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to thank you, but go ahead if you've got more to add.
No, that's it.
Let's see. It looks like we have another question coming in here. It looks like they're asking, what was your kind of ultimate tipping point in terms of getting rid of that existing solution or set of solutions that you had, and deciding to evaluate or actually move to a cloud-based system?
Right. The tipping point was our clients were pushing us. Particularly, our largest client needed the priority queuing, so that was kind of the impetus to go to a new system where we would have been in danger of losing the client. So that was really the main reason why we looked at it.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we have another question coming in about multi-channel. They're asking if you offer chat or email or any of the other multi-channel offerings.
Yes, we are. We're just starting to offer that now. That was just been released by Five9 in the last month or two. So we typically did live chat and email for our clients, but it'll be real nice when when we implement the the multi-channel suite, where agents we don't have to tell our clients they need a separate live chat system or a separate email system where everything can come in through the agent, whether it's an email, live chat, or a phone call.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Let's see. Do we have any other questions coming in? Looks like that was the last one. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like if there's no more questions, let's see. We have one more that just popped in. Just see if I can read it. Okay, Mark, do you develop client reporting in-house, or do you use 5.9 reporting?
We entirely use 5.9 reporting.
Okay.
It's a real strong reporting system where you basically have all the data out there as far as the calls, the abandonment rate, all the different call data that you have, and it's just basically just check marking which ones you want, and it creates the reports for you. One of the things I was surprised at too, the other vendors didn't have the automated reporting. We just set up the reports for our clients, and they automatically get emailed to them. I was just amazed that some of the other large vendors didn't have that capability. So it's a nice feature that 5.9 has.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Any other questions before we? We sent out. Okay, thank you for your time. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.